The students sit in very hot classrooms or very cold classrooms, some without windows or natural airflow or light.
There's, pieces of metal that are rotting and you get cracks and there's undulations and we're constantly having to keep up with that and it's taxing.
With packed about 36 desks, small space for the teacher. So that's what our current students are sitting in for, 6 to 8 hours a day.
We get flooding in certain areas, our drainage isn't up to par, going years and years and years without being able to replace them. There's a point where they've got to be replaced.
Disturbing conditions like these are common not only in our country, but in our own neighborhoods.
They see all the 5-star restaurants and all the amazing amenities we have in our community, and then they come to our school and they see the opposite.
But how can we pay for these needed repairs and upgrades? When funds from the state budget go to schools each year, they are intended for operating costs rather than facilities improvements and upgrades. Even with millions for school facilities, it's simply not enough, especially when a word like facilities has so many complexities. Upgrading classrooms, labs, and art facilities for high-quality instruction, modernizing labs and career training facilities, fixing everything from roofs and support beams to HVAC, plumbing, and electric, upgrading older schools for health, safety, and access, keeping computers and other learning technologies up to date. So where does the money for all this infrastructure come from? There's bond money available from the state, but only if local governments have the money to match. When they don't, the state money goes to other school districts. For most communities, local school bonds are used to match state dollars. A bond is a way that your town borrows money. That money is paid back with interest from local property taxes over 30 years. It's not too different than the way a family might borrow to invest in a home or other valuable resource. In the case of school bonds, your community is investing in the most valuable resource of all, the children, their prospects in work and life. The future. In California, voters decide about bonds. This means that when school districts put a bond measure on the ballot, voters have to approve, 55% to pass. Bond money can only go to school facilities. Bond money always stays in the community that voted for it. There are audits and independent oversight to make sure, and a clearly stated plan is required to activate matching state bond funding. The difference that school bonds make is enormous. Communities with school bond funding have up-to-date classrooms, labs, and learning technology. They're designed to give students a leg up in the careers of tomorrow in STEAM. Everything from health fields and biomedical science to computer science and robotics, as well as the skilled trades society depends on. These are the schools that set the standard for what a classroom ought to look like. When all is said and done, local bonds are the only way to get enough money for school facilities and to access state bond funds.
People can decide to move here or move elsewhere based on the state of their educational facilities. If we reinvest back into our facilities, our property values will go up because people will want to be here. That number one thing they'll ask realtors, how are the schools? And our school's great, but when we walk our schools, it's kind of a hard sell because they look around and like, wow, it's in disrepair.
We need to provide an education where kids feel supported and they feel successful, authentically successful every day. We can do that by providing the right environment, and that's including a facility that matches the effort and performance of our teachers and staff.
The children in your town deserve the best. Bond funding for facilities is the only way that vital upgrades will happen. Now you know. Help spread the word.